So it's time for us to keep building our game. And in order to make it a little bit more interesting, we want to make our object jump. Let me make sure my floor is not rotated on my camera. Let's see if we make that 0, what happens? So let's see if the camera's better now. Okay. All right, so let's look at a script. We're going to just modify the script we have. And just add a few things to it. So we already have this in our variables. We've already defined these variables that we're going to use in the game. So we don't have to type them 3 or 4 times. We can use them anywhere we want to once we define them before the game starts. And we definitely want to be able to use our speed and our jump up settings in the game, so we make them public so we can change them when we're playing it. And we don't want to go down and type all this information. We just want to type this term when we want to use all of this. But we still need to tell the computer that we're going to control it in the game, that it's can be a decimal, and this is the name and this is the current value. So the computer's going to remember all that once we just type that. So remember, the variables are very important so that we can use them in the game without having to type all this information each time we want to use it. We want to get this rigid body information when the game starts, because now we're going to jump. If we're going to jump, we need to know where we are, whether we're on ground or not, whether we're in front of something or not. So we need to make sure we get that rigid body information right when the game starts. Okay? And I changed this. So if you look at the last video, you can get rid of it. I just want to show you it there just so in case you realize, well, you didn't get rid of this line. And now you have this line, they're conflicting. I commented it off, but you can get rid of it because I'm going to use this velocity to jump. So I don't want to have my RB. I'm using my rigid body down here to jump. So I want to make sure I'm not using it to move. So I changed the move script. I just used our variables here. And of course, we know that this is left to right. We're not moving up or down, at least moving. We're going to be jumping. And then this is left forwards and backwards. And you can see we're using this variable, which is only good for these 2 brackets, because that's what we need it for. But then we're using our speed, which is up here, which is good. We can put it anywhere. So this, well, you'll type this to line now. This is where we got some new information. So now if we push the button down, if we push a button down, which is our jump button, which is the space bar. If we push the button down, the space bar, we're going to add force to the player. And we're going to take that force up. So we're going to, nothing on the X, nothing on the Z, but we're going to jump up. And you remember we can control that by this variable. That's where we're using it. Instead of putting all this information, we just have to type jump up and the computer remembers it. And then we're going to apply some force mode. So you can see the definition. If you hover over these, it'll give you a definition how to apply force to the rigid body. So I'm going to save it. Let's go back to our game and let's see just what our force. Oh, we're jumping to 300. We don't want to do that. Maybe 20. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 20's nothing, right? So let's go maybe 100. That may be a little much, but let's try it. Doable? Okay. Now I have a cube here. What do I have going on with this cube? I just sort of put it in there so I could fool around with it. Yeah, this is still probably still up in the air. Let's make it 150 and see what happens. Let's see how they fall. Yeah, it's going way up there. So we have this, move control, 6, jump up 100, cubes on the ground. Rigid body, gravity, move control, jump up. Yeah, I don't quite understand why my cube is going so crazy. I'll make sure we have the same script on it. So now my cube's not jumping at all. Maybe 25. And once it reaches 20, it goes way up there. I'm going to have to sort of research that and see why. They both have rigid body, they both have mass, or is the mass different on my player? Oh, the mass is 3 on my player. So this is where you start fooling around with things. You can change the mass, you can change the drag, fool around with this. So that's 3. Which means my player weighed a lot more than this cube. And are we coming down slowly? I'm going to have to see why this thing's coming down slowly, too. Oh, the drag. So what is the cube? The cube is 0.05. So I fooled around my player. Oh, that is drag. So what is the drag on the cube? Drag is 0. So you can see, as I fool around with this, the effect. So I fooled around with these, and you can see the differences in the way they come up and the way they come down. Are we coming down? Oh, we're way up there, aren't we? So let's say my player, I made that like, let's make it 15. Let's make the cube 15. And now we have the same settings. And we're coming down. Of course, 15 would be too much. So probably like 5. Depending on where you're jumping on. I mean, if you have a big building, I guess it would work. Yeah, okay. Somewhere around there, 5, 10s, whatever. Let me save a scene. Shall we save a scene? And I'm going to already have a couple of jumping scenes. So I'm just going to save that as jump up. So make sure you have scenes. People come up and say, hey, Mr. G, I don't see any of my work. Oh, there's no scenes there either. Save as scenes every time you do something. So again, go write that script. You can copy and paste this onto a new script right here, and then make the changes and keep your old script if you want, or if not, you can just write over your existing script. So you would just take the old script, copy it, create a new script called Jump Up, and paste the previous script in there, and then make these changes and save it. So again, we'll go through this, and then the next thing we need to do is we need to make sure after we do this that this doesn't happen, and that'll be our next script. So it's still sort of jumping in the air. If I make it like 7, So sometimes you can keep jumping in the air. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. So we would then go modify our script so that it doesn't jump again till we want it to. So anyway, we get this part done. And, well, let's see what script I have on here. Do I have jump up? No. So that's why. I have my old script on. So let me put jump up, no, jump up one. So if you get a bunch of different scripts you're fooling around, make sure you get rid of the ones you're not using. Okay, why is jump up one? Oh, this is jump up. Let's get it right. This is remove component and jump up. There we go. Now we can control it. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, see that? See, the other script fixed that, but this one doesn't. So we're going to fix that so that it does not happen that way. And because this is the other script, I don't think I need to make that too high. But you can see we go up. Anyway, we will fix that in the next couple of days and adding to the script we have. Get that part done. I'm sort of glad I went through this because you had a chance to see some of the how these things work and some of the things I had done and not done. As I was going through, they had the wrong script on, had changed the settings, etc., which are things that you can do.